That's what you don't want to hear when you got a farmer behind you with a double barrel shotgun full of fucking rock salt. Clicking the fucking both hammers. My dad's got one of those.
Yeah.
12 gauge. I'm sure your dad does too.
I believe so.
That thing hung on the wall up in a house, on the house on Poquet Road. I remember it was on the wall. And I remember one night, this was the early 70s, I was probably 3-4 years old, and people were siphoning gas at the time. There was a fuel crisis. They tried to make a fuel crisis as a distraction to Vietnam. But we still got out in 75. Is that the distraction they were using against what they wanted? The rubber trees and the fucking that they had in Vietnam, resources. They just say, fucking fuel shortage. They made criminals out of everybody so that they could murder their children. Huh. Think that qualifies as a mind-blowing experience? I've never thought of it that way. It doesn't do much to me. Actually, it doesn't qualify as a mind-blowing. It's thinking it back in my short-term memory, as it was just even. There was no spark in my brain at all. It's a possibility. And I woke up to a commotion and my dad moving through the house. Go outside, follow him out. He grabbed the shotgun off the wall. There was a guy out there siphoning gas out of his car. He had a double barrel shotgun. You get out of here right now.
Was he in his underwear?
Yes.
That's
which
hysterical.
is even better.
Hysterical.
Oh my God, so glad you asked. Because
that's the only way I can picture that whole scene happening.
That's the same way he went to the Jehovah's Witnesses. He tells his story. He's sleeping. He worked midnights. They're pounding on the door. He comes out in his underwear and he's,
so
I've got my God. Get out of here. You know? No, I'm sorry. I'm not interested. My mother watched me and marveled when I talked to the Jehovah's Witnesses for about 45 minutes to an hour at the house. They showed up the one day and they're like, oh. And I said, I got it. And I went to the door, and my mom just came out and watched me from the kitchen. Like, I once had the Jehovah's Witnesses bring back another fucking guy. They said, this is the guy we told you about. And I'm just like,
it's that guy.
And I just looked at this guy who looked like he was a pastor, like he'd been studying for this fight. These women love me, though.
Yeah.
And this guy is just looking at me, and he's like, and I just fucking shut up and looked at him. I didn't give him a goddamn thing. Just because I don't think anybody should be coming around looking for an argument. I just looked at him, and he probably beat those women and gave them to the fucking parishioners after that. You hauled me out to that house for that?
My dad was hauling manure, in his overalls, and came in for lunch, whatever, grab a quick bite, some cookies and milk or whatever, and the Avon lady comes to the door. He's covered in
You think you can help me?
Covered in cow shit in his overalls, He knocks on the door, he opens it up, and she's like, can I speak to the lady of the house? And she's just
not unless you're a medium.
She's looking him up and down. There's just cow shit, horse shit. He's hauling manure.
Could have been blood.
And he's
at least.
He's got his cookie or whatever, and he's like, you're looking at her.
They got a buck last week.
Yes.
This week.
Yeah. Very cool.
$2 came to the family through a great-grandchild, first the great-grandchild and then
Very first
grandpa.
one.
Grandpa.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very cool. It's been a big
Fucking
week.
9-year-old.
9, yeah. I think he's the youngest.
9!
He'd
Mark
have to be-
Schnell!
I think he's the youngest of all of them.
Zuvacha.
I believe.
He's
Yeah.
the youngest of all of them.
The youngest.
And her dad says, you shoot him here. And he shoots him there. Everything. He's like, where should I shoot it?
Everything's just a perfect shot.
Fucking poetry.
It's just
And then it
amazing. And we keep thinking, well, it's just got to be lucky. This has to be, everything just happened to be just right, you know? And that's
first time I met him,
getting
and
harder
he
to.
says,
Everything's a perfect.
I'm the kid and I'm 6. And I'm like, okay. And then I keep hearing about his fucking fantastic firing skills and all this. And I'm like, probably luck. I keep looking at his shot groups and stuff, and I'm like, and then to be out there, you know what that means? When your dad says shoot him here, he's like, okay, and he's sitting on his lap. He's here, get on my lap. So he got up on his lap, and he's got the rifle over his shoulder like that because it's too big. He's still too small to shoulder it, and just shoot him there. And what I think is that he is the perfect hunter. He is not thinking about, he's just thinking about shoot him there. He follows direction very well. Oh, baby. Hi.
Oh.
Oh. I don't think it's gonna work.
Oh, you got it.
I know.
You got it. You did.
Did I?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I heard him popping or not.
Oh, it was so tight.
Oh, I got a couple of my own. So, what is it? What was I talking about before we started talking about, well, I did run over a deer today, but somebody else, dozens of other cars had already hit it first, so I swerved around it, and I saw my tire in the middle of the day. I looked at it, and I said, what did I run into, a fire curb? And why is there a red out? And I said, oh, that's blood. I said, that'll look good if I get pulled over. You know, and that's it. And then we were on the way home. Because I said, stop, Danny. It's blood. And she said, here you are. I said, well, if we get pulled over, and she said, and you're riding with some kid that isn't related to you in any way, you shut up.
I know, she's always, I know. That day we got pulled over, she's all full of judgment.
She's wanting to get pulled over. You know what? She's the only one getting anything out of this. Well, we get let off.
Oh, they're pissed off at you.
She never said a word to me. We were in the car within a month or something.
Yeah,
I don't know,
it was
like
a couple of weeks.
with
yeah.
the step Danny in the passenger seat. I was driving with her, and Victoria was driving with her on different occasions within about a month. I just got done doing a video about getting pulled over Big Beaver Road. Yeah. And she was in the car both times. She just sits there. Let me see her, just sits there. Cop's probably fucking nervous. So then we take off, and since there's blood on my wheels, you gotta meet a paratrooper. It's in the code.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, just like you don't put a blade away without drawing blood. It doesn't have to be your own. But, yeah, I do. I open blades and put them away. You can't only be so crazy in fucking U.S. China, they just fucking back off and don't know what to do. But, yeah. Oh, so then there's my dad. Also, when, I'm not going to say about, you know what? Yeah. When Bob Jerusalem was getting pulled over in my dad's yard, and we're a quarter of a mile from the city limits, outside of the city limits, just into the country on the other side of the other side of the cemetery from the city limits. And here comes Bob Jerusalem coming to see my dad, and Karen McCann, Karen the cop, she's riding in behind him with her lights on, and she's getting out of the car and approaching Bob for whatever reason, and my dad, in his underwear, comes out in the middle of the afternoon, a gray day.
In the afternoon? He's in his underwear in the
Early
afternoon?
afternoon.
Oh my God.
And he's yelling, "You get off my property!" And she's like, sir, please go back in the house." He says, "No, you're on my property. These are not the city limits. You have no jurisdiction here." He's in his underwear. And she's like, "No, sir." He says, "No!" And she just got in her car and took off. Got Bob out of a ticket because he was in his underwear. This guy's too smart to be stupid in a pair of underwear. He's a dangerous man. This is a crazy man that can speak fucking jurisdictions.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so that was also, but yeah, those times they were in Vietnam for that type of thing, just to distract us, make us siphon gas from guys in their underwear. You don't know they're in their underwear until they hear you. And so we're coming back today, and we got behind the car, and the vanity plate says 82D ABN, which in the 82nd you did it 82D. There's no ND when you're in the 82nd Airborne Division.
Oh, okay.
And I looked at that plate and I said, "Look," I said, "I got that." And I said, "Look, his license plate holder even said like paratrooper, 82nd Airborne paratrooper." You know, this guy was really sporting it, you know. He's gone above and beyond. I just got one that is a border. When I got my new car, my new plate is a border that had the 82nd, just so cops could see that and they'd say, "Oh, maybe he's not so bad."
Okay.
Or other people that are screwing with you, they might think about
twice.
something. And it's just, you know, it's just propaganda and marketing.
Special forces training.
Oh yeah, I had extensive training by the special forces in guerrilla warfare. Yeah.
And the CIA and all
We
those.
didn't, I did sell steel-toe boots to the FBI, but I never worked for them. I had to have my security clearance re-upped again when I was out. I had to get a clearance, and it wasn't the same as the one I had, which when I was in, it was just secret clearance. I only need to know what I need to know. That's why I don't fucking hear you talking behind my back, because you don't mean a goddamn thing to me. Unless you're Yorn, or Papillon One, or who's this guy, Jacob Carell?
I don't know.
Wow, I got some guy yesterday said,
You became nervous.
scared. He said, yeah, I had a comment that was a real person.
A real person
Yeah.
comment.
I didn't even have to go through any
wasn't a
porn
sex
sites to
line
get to
or-
the point.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we're behind this guy. And he's driving decent, but she noticed something, and I'm thinking, this guy. I said, I got to get in front of him so he can see my license plate border that has the 82nd Airborne Division on it for the cops. You know, it actually, it does, it's funny. I never thought it would mean anything driving around with it, but when I see people, it makes me think, I got that fucking thing. I got to get in front of him. And, but this guy was all 82nd, you know. I see he's probably a prick, probably a lifer. I see he probably doesn't understand that you have to be fucking crazy to be in the 82nd. He didn't understand the guys that were having fun. I says, and I had no idea how old he was or anything. And then we came up to where it splits and we're getting ready to go on a fucking rah, and he was taking a right turn, and I came up and I was like next to him, and I said, and stop. Danny's just sitting there going, and I'm creeping up. I'm like, I gotta see him. I said, I don't know if I can get close enough. And he's just sitting there, and he turns out to be some guy that's older than me. And he's sitting there, and I finally got close enough that I could see him. And I beeped the horn. I went boom, boom, and rolled down his window, her window. And he's looks over at me, and I said, the wiggle, you know, and roll it down. This doesn't mean anything. This could be the next presidential fucking candidate saying, I'm not gonna give you all my fingers, I don't want you to feel threatened. I told them that they were gonna listen and we did it. I don't want you to feel frightened. I'm looking fucking down on you. That's the next fucking move. But no, it wasn't that. You can't do that as a sign anymore. They don't know if it's politics or not. You do this. Fucking roll that window down.
Roll it up,
and
roll it down.
If you're lucky, the handle won't break off in the frigid 40 below fucking winters like it did to mine. And so I did that, and he's just sitting there. He looks, and he's like, and he rolls it down. And I said, all the way, sir. And he said, airborne. And I said, hooah, and we roll our windows back up. And then I'm sitting there, and we're just still sitting there, and I'm like, I almost missed the opportunity. Missed an opportunity once. I have before, and I know I would have regretted it. I felt like, you know, shit, fuck that up. But I realized all of a sudden, uh-oh.
What?
Oh, I did. Talk to them.
What's
Talk
the matter?
to them. I'll be right back.
I don't know what to say.
Well, tell them about your dad.
Oh.
Well, tell them an underwear story about my dad. You just saw him in his underwear this weekend.
Which is true. We did see him in his underwear. He had surgery. He was going in for surgery, so he had to show us his leg. They cut him from here all the way down, put a stint in. So.
Or you could just stand there. I don't think anybody mind. Nobody's watching it. They probably don't even make it past 30 to 45 seconds in. They don't get all the good stuff. I mean, look at this. So there it is. I said, ooh. You know, he rolled his window sitting there, and I'm like, and I remembered meeting that guy at Secretary of State that knew Major Temple and Colonel Strock, and how, you know, just because you could relate. And I reached back into my seat. I'm like, oh, and I was stepped down. What? And I look over at him, and he's just sitting there looking forward, and I'm like, so I said, beep, beep, and I rolled down her window again, and the guy's like, and he rolls down his window, and I said, I maintain the right. See, that's what it says up there. It's on Unicrest. That's our mission statement, I guess. You know, it's from France and maintaining the right flank. I think the music and all that. I don't know. I didn't ever. They talk about it and you catch some of it, but you don't care. It says I maintain the right, which could say a lot about how I feel like I have the right to fucking decide what's best for me. You know, it's deeper than just maintaining the right flank. It's fucking covering your ass and running people over.
Yes.
I maintain the right. And so I said to him, I maintain the right, because I had the hat on. I keep this in the car for cops too. I had it in the car for cops before I got the border plate. But now it's the add-on. But, and I said, I maintain the right. And he looked at me and he says, you were 307th Engineer Battalion too? And I said, ha! And he said, I said, you? And he says, 63 to 66. And while I was undoing the window and putting this on and beeping, and Step Danny, she's like, don't do it. You're going to freak this guy out. She says, you're going to freak this guy out. And I'm like, I'm not listening to that. And the window come down. I maintain the right. And he says, you were in the 307th Engineer Battalion too? And I said, ha! And he said, it's you? And he said, 63 to 66, which means he was in Vietnam from a period of time where it was just advising, like about 64, 65, they really were advising the special forces were, and they would have probably taken these guys with him. But he got to see it go from just an advising era to actual combat, you know, where they don't want to be our friends anymore.
Right.
And he said 63 to 66, and I said 87 to 91. I said, all right. And he was just so happy he made his right turn when the light changed right there. He was behind people that couldn't come out. But so I had an airborne experience today, and Step Danny saw it, and I wanted her to tell you the story to see myself. I wanted to see how she sees this.
Yeah.
But this is something that this guy, he's so used to people beeping at him all day long, and he was a decent driver. He was doing just fine. I just happened to be behind him looking at his plate and expecting some prick. And he probably is. But he got excited because he thought I was a prick too.
There you go. Me?
Oh, yeah. See, that's what you get when you put on a face like that. You get somebody that a crowd looks at and says, oh, he really can't be that bad. And even if he is, how can you take him seriously? So there it is, baby. It was something I had a thing that I was making up as I was talking to you about my dad and his underwear. I had a pretty good segue that dealt with the military and stuff. But, yeah, you automatically thought some Vietnam vet was hitting on your daughter.
Yeah.
She's like, what, somebody hitting on Danny again?
God. It's ridiculous.
She's just fucking with people. Anyway, I just wanted to tell the story about the paratrooper on the highway. Love you, baby.
I love you.
Should we do it? Watch. We love you all. But not like we love each other. In a much lesser way.